Chapter 10, A Meeting of the Thing. The Thing was a real step forward for the Viking tribes. It took place in a gigantic circular dip on the slopes of Huge Hill. Steps had been cut into the dip to make an enormous amphitheatre, and heather grew on the steps, which was normally made them springy and comfy to sit on, but unfortunately, due to circumstances beyond the organisers' control, this heather had recently been burned to the ground. Everybody had to leave their weapons in a large heap before they entered the amphitheatre in case the discussions got heated. There was Mad Guts the murderess, deep in discussion with Modgadon the meathead and his son Thuggery. Norbert the Nutjob, chief of the hysterics, fiddling nervously with his beard because he'd had to leave his axe outside, so he didn't know what to do with his hands. Oh, Dad, Norbert the Nutjob has joined in. Oh, look, there's a picture of the riddle of Narvlight Island, and look, the writing's in an interesting shape. Oh. My humble brother is white as milk. Oh, it's a riddle. My humble brother is white as milk, with doorless walls as soft as silk. I am gold as fire, a treasure rich that men desire. He who cracks the firestone shall rule the islands all alone. It's a riddle in the shape of... yes, anyway, yes. Rabbit the Grim was there, trying to hide from Big Boobied Bertha because he'd rustled some of her reindeer a couple of months ago, and the sledgehammer fists and breath-quenching breasts of Big Boobied Bertha were the terror of the archipelago. There was Deadly Dog Dullard getting into a fist fight with Megalux Mantin because Megalux had laughed at his rather bright yellow leggings. And there was Kamikaze, good. I love Kamikaze. Bertha's tiny tangle-haired daughter, gently pouring itchy worms into the back of Rabbit's trousers without him even noticing, in secret retaliation for the reindeer rustling incident mentioned earlier. All around and above were the Vikings' dragons, snapping at each other, shrieking, tripping people up by running through their legs, and having to be pulled apart by their owners as they got into dragon fights. And right in the front row of the arguing, shouting, muscle-bound mess sat Stoic the Vast, his chest puffed up with importance, swelling with pride and dignity. Before him was a small plinth, and sitting on the plinth was the Firestone. There's the Firestone. That's it. And he, Stoic the Vast, had stolen this stone. Yes, he'd stolen the stone with his own fat hands, which made him the big man at this event. Yes, it all becomes quite clear. Yes, because he took the Firestone from the volcano, which is the reason why all the exterminators are waking up. The thing couldn't take place without the stone. You had to be holding the stone in order to speak, so that everybody didn't all talk at once. The hairy, scary librarian blew the bugle. He took the golden Firestone in his ancient old hands. "Would the players please take their places on the field?" he wheezed. The finest warriors from every tribe strode forward, flexing their muscles. The amphitheatre exploded with noise as everybody sitting around about on their sooty seating yelled in support of their own tribe. "Go, meatheads, go! Kill 'em, Bashamites, kill 'em! Busy thugs, busy thugs, busy thugs!" etc., etc. The hairy, scary librarian blew the bugle again and threw the Firestone into the air. All hell broke loose with the warriors in the field pushing and shoving each other out of the way to get underneath it, and the supporters on the benches shouting at the top of their lungs and barely able to control themselves from storming onto the pitch to join in. Shortlegs of Glum had the slightly doubtful glory of catching the stone, and then both Shortlegs and the Firestone disappeared into a yelling scrum of muscly arms and legs and tattooed fists. Stoic the Vast waited casually somewhere away, hovering near the plinth, confident that his warriors would pull it out of the bag for him. And sure enough, after a few minutes, the head of Gobber the Belch emerged from out of the heaving mass, chucking the stone towards the larger of the vicious twins, who threw a long pass to Stoic the Vast, who dodged out of the way of Modgadon the meathead, belly charged Mad Guts the murderess, caught the stone in one fat hand and touched it down on the plinth. "Touchdown!" yelled the happy hooligans. "Everybody quiet, Stoic, Stoic, Stoic." Now, the rules of the thing said that everybody had to stay absolutely still and silent while they listened to Stoic. The heaving mass of the scrum had to stay absolutely as they were, legs and arms not so lovingly intertwined, while Stoic had his say. Stoic the Vast, holding the stone, cleared his throat importantly and began to speak. "Friends, enemies, and fellow barbarians," bellowed Stoic the Vast, "we are all facing a common enemy today, an enemy not seen in our lands for hundreds and hundreds of years. These exterminates are coming, and apparently there are a few of them. Should we flee like those cowardly bunny rabbits that laugh out?" "No," bellowed the Vikings, drumming their feet on the incinerated heather. You were allowed to reply when asked a question. "Could you repeat that?" asked Shortlegs of Glum from the very bottom of the scrum, for Gobber's Rabbit's elbow was nestling in his ear hole and he couldn't hear a thing. "I say we fight!" screamed Stoic the Vast. "Are you with me?" "Yay!" yelled everybody happily back at him. "Are we the kind of people to let a piddly little thing like a tiny volcanic eruption get us down?" asked Stoic the Vast at full volume. "No!" yelled back the Vikings. "You bet your barnacles we aren't," yelled Stoic the Vast. "But we are barbarians, and the thing about barbarians is we never surrender. Can you sing it out for us, barbarians, guys?" All the Vikings jumped to their feet and sang their hearts out, with Stoic conducting the chorus, the stone held like a basher ball in one fat hand only. "Rule, barbarians, barbarians, rule the waves. Vikings never, ever, ever shall be slaves." Hiccup and Humongous had arrived at the thing not just after the second bugle had sounded, and Humongous was watching the proceedings with his mouth gently open. Here was a version of democracy that he had never even dreamed of. "Okay," whispered Hiccup. "My father's minute is nearly up. I want you to go and hover near the plinth, Humongous, and get ready to touch down the stone." "Righty-ho," said Humongous, elegantly flexing his humongous biceps. This looked like his sort of game. Hiccup sidled up to Kamikaze, who was cheering on the bog burglars. Kamikaze was a friend of his, despite the fact that she belonged to another tribe. "Kamikaze, can you do me a favour and nip into the scrum and pinch the stone for me next time they blow the bugle?" Hiccup asked. "But you're on a different side," exclaimed Kamikaze in surprise. "Oh, I'm not playing for the hooligans," explained Hiccup. "I've formed my own team." "Oh, okay then," said Kamikaze excitedly. "Thank you for picking me." She was a little fed up because her mother, Bertha, always said that she was too small to play at the thing. "I want you to nick that stone. Kamikaze is the best burglar. And throw it to that big good-looking bloke over there." Hiccup pointed at Humongous. "Can you do it?" "Of course I can do it," snorted Kamikaze. "Us burglars can burgle anything. You should try stealing the underpants of Mad Guts and the murderess. This is easy peasy in comparison. Watch and learn, Hiccup, my boy. Watch and learn." And Kamikaze skipped off merrily towards the scrum. The hairy, scary barbarian blew the bugle, which was the sign that Stoic's 1 minute's talking was up. We'll have to see what happens tomorrow.